Hey friends, it's me, Jonny Morrison. If you don't know me, I am a pastor in Salt Lake City, Utah. I have a church called Missio Dei, and I write a little bit, a couple of books, and on my Substack. And I like to ask questions, especially about faith, theology, and life, and this thing we do called following Jesus. And that's kind of why I am here, because I am announcing that I am starting a new podcast entitled Prodigal Pastor. And I have to be honest with you, I've been a little nervous and hesitant to start a podcast. I don't know right now if another one is what the world needs. And I didn't really want to be another guy starting a podcast. And so I've been debating it and thinking about it for kind of a long time. I would like text friends and be like, hey, is this a good idea? Is this an interesting idea? But then this year in the fall, I kind of settled on the idea that I did want to do this. And I want to start a podcast for two major reasons, I think. The first one is what I mentioned. I like to ask questions. And my schooling in writing, in speaking, have given me access to some really wonderful conversation partners that I get to benefit from and believe that everybody else I know could benefit from hearing from folks who are experts at studying scripture, at knowing what it looks like to follow Jesus, at talking about leadership and power and theology and culture in a way that is truly beautiful. And I was like, I think all of us can benefit from these kinds of conversations. And I want to step into a position where I am again a curious question asker. I left school a while ago. I mean, I finished school. I didn't just leave it after a long time being there. And as the sicko that I am, I kind of miss it. I miss being a student. I miss being curious. I miss being incentivized to read and to study and to ask good questions. And so this is a space for me to do that, to ask good questions that hopefully benefit those around me. But then the second reason, and the bigger and more important reason that I wanted to start this podcast, is that when I am speaking at various churches or when I am in my own congregation, I hear quite a bit that folks feel a little bit like prodigals in their own theological traditions or from where they grew up or what they learned or what they inherited. And there's something in them that loves this Jesus story and that loves this Jesus-centered expression of faith, but is still trying to wrestle through what that looks like and where they are at home and how they move forward. And I get to have wonderful conversations with people who are thinking about those exact same kinds of questions. And I think hearing from them and learning from them will help all of us feel like even if we are prodigals in the tradition that we came from, we are prodigals together, making a new kind of home that hopefully looks more like Jesus and the home that he wants us to build for those around us. And so that's the hope of this podcast, to ask curious questions, to have helpful and constructive conversations about Jesus and faith and culture and life and, maybe fly fishing and cooking and the other kind of things that I think are a part of that story. And I call it a hope because it is a bit of a hope or a bit of an experiment. I don't know where this podcast will go. I'm committed to doing 6 episodes, and I've already interviewed some wonderful scholars who are going to help us have these conversations going forward that I'm so excited for you to see. But after 6 episodes, I have some other experimental plans, but we'll see what happens and how people are engaging with the content that we are creating here. But even if that's all we ever do, 6 episodes, I will have felt very grateful for the time that I've already put in, because it has been deeply rewarding to me to have these conversations with these folks. So I'm excited for you to hear that. We'll start pretty soon. And my goal is to release 2 episodes a month on Thursdays. And our first set of conversations are all going to be about how we read the Bible. And again, I know I've said this a lot, but I'm very excited for you to hear them. I've interviewed Dr. Megan Good, who wrote a wonderful book on reading the Bible through the lens of Jesus. I've introduced a scholar named Tim Gettert, who is so helpful when it comes to reading the Bible like a story. I've interviewed a woman named Ingrid Faro, Dr. Ingrid Faro, who wrote again, marvelous book on the story of women throughout Scripture and how we can reread the Bible through their perspective to see so much. And we have a few more that I'm excited for you to hear going forward. So that's what we're doing. That's what this announcement about, to tell you what we're doing, what we're working on, what's coming next. If you want to follow along with the Prodigal Pastor, you can subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. I'll be posting about it here on my Substack and posting the videos on YouTube. And yeah, that's it. That's what I got. Thanks for watching this video or listening to this trailer, and I will hopefully talk to you again later. Thanks.